All right, welcome back, class. We are here for the second activity of our first lesson in Unit 3. All right, so now instead of washing windows, we're going to imagine climbing up this tall building. That could be a little scary, I know, but this is this is a make-believe for now, so we can have some fun with it. So unless we're a professional climber, like we had here in 2011, there was a professional climber that actually scaled the outside of the Burj Khalifa, making it all the way to 828 meters. That's the highest point a person can stand on in 6 hours. You can see the top of the building; it gets really skinny, and you can't actually stand there, but that's just part of the building. So 828 meters is where this person was able to make it to, and they made it there in 6 hours. Okay, so that's too much for me, but that's what they did. And so, assuming they climbed at the same rate the whole way, how far did they climb in the first 2 hours? Well, if we want to know how far they climbed in 2 hours, it would help us to know how far they climbed in 1 hour. Okay? That will also answer this next question as well. How far do they climb in 5 hours? And it can also help us in the last question here. So if we want to find out how much they climbed in 1 hour, all we're going to do is take the total meters that they climbed divided by the total hours that it took them to get there. So if you went to go to the calculator, we have 828 divided by 6. We can click here. We can do 828 divided by 6, and that's 138. Okay, it's 138. So if it's 138 in 1 hour, okay, what do you think we would need to do to find for 2 hours? Well, we would need to double the amount. From 1 hour to 2 hours, we're going to do double 138. So that will help us for this one here. So if we double 138, it's 276, right? So that's how that's going to work. So they would go 276 meters in 2 hours, okay? In 5 hours, we would go back to our rate with 1, and we would multiply that times 5. So let me just show you this being depicted in a number line and a table. So here we go. All right, so in the number line, you can see here 828 meters in 6 hours. They divided by 6 to get for 1 hour. So divide by 6, and there you can see the 138 that we found, right? And then to double that, you get 276 in 2 hours. So that's how much it would take for 2 hours. For 5 hours, you're going to take the 1 and do times 5, and you're going to take 138 times 5, and you're going to get 690 meters, right, in 5 hours. Okay, so that's how we can work with that. The key, though, is to finding out how high he was able to go in 1 hour. All right, now for question number 3, this is a tricky one. It says, how far did they climb in the final 15 minutes? Well, we have values for hours, but we need to get to minutes. All right, so what you need to do is you need to think about what fraction of an hour is 15 minutes. Okay, so how many minutes are in an hour? There are 60 minutes in an hour. So 15 minutes, that's way too big. 15 minutes out of 60. Okay, so 15 out of 60. The way we're going to write that is we're going to write that as 15 over 60. That's a fraction, right? And then we want to simplify that. How many 15s are in 60? There are 4. This is equal to 1/4. So when they're talking about 15 minutes, they're talking about a quarter of an hour. You're dividing an hour into 4 parts. So you would take how far they climb in 1 hour, this 138 meters, and you're going to divide that into 4 parts. You're going to divide it by 4. 138 divided by 4. So in the calculator, we can see this right now. Let's take 138 divided by 4, and it's 34.5. Okay, it's important to know that we are not talking about 34 with a remainder of 2. We want to make that into 34 with a remainder of 2/4, which is 1/2. Okay, so it's 34.5, and you can see it right there. A quarter of an hour, he goes 34.5 meters. So that's how far he would have gone in the last 15 minutes, because that's what this means. 1/4 hour means 15 minutes. So it'll be 34.5. Okay, and that wraps up our lesson. Don't forget to look at the lesson summary.